Hello everybody, I've come to North Yorkshire today. I'm in the forest. One of my grandkids has got bobster, so I thought I'd just take 2 minutes and just talk about something that occurred in an area not unlike this. A little bit of forest similar to this. So imagine these trees. 45 minutes later and we've arrived at the bottom. Pretty arduous, steep, and I can see now, Steve, why when you said you were actually trapped in that wood when it happened.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way you would have got out, is there?
Well, also with not having any form of a torch, kind of.
Adequate light.
And light, as you can see now, it's daylight. You just nowhere.
Yeah, well,
it's like a prison.
It's totally quiet. And I want to go back to the story of the 3 guys wild camping in 2018. And they set up camp in an area not unlike this. And just look at it, absolute awesome terrain. And as they're setting up camp, one of the members of the party, we'll call him witness number 3, suddenly said, "I don't like it, I don't want to be here. Something's watching us." Another half an hour and we'd have been struggling to set camp.
Yeah, we've just about got there, ready now, and so it's obviously darkness is coming in now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Pretty oppressive. Let's see what 2 in the morning brings you.
Well, time will tell.
So we've got this perception already of something untoward, something a bit sinister in this bit of woodland, or a woodland similar to this. Well, they've just come down a big ravine and they can't get out. They're stuck. And this man's saying, "We've got to go, I don't like it." And they're wondering why, and they set up a fire. They realise they can't leave, it's getting dark. Several hours pass and he's still nervous, still twitchy, and he's wanting to leave, but they can't, it's pitch black. And they sat round the fire, and all of a sudden, in the distance, 2 huge, luminous amber eyes light up in the darkness. No torch on them, nothing. These eyes just light up. Fear suddenly strikes all 3 of them. Real, genuine fear. And there's the river that's running just past where I'm pointing now. In the words of Jim, he couldn't assign an animal to these eyes. Not the size of them, they were human shaped. All 3 of them agreed on that. And they were amber in colour and as big as his fist. So he's frightened. And witness number 3's now terrified. So it's ramping up, the fear's ramping up, and they're worried that this man's going to go charging off into the darkness. In fact, they actually said that whatever it was, they think it wanted them to split up. But they didn't, they stayed tight.
When it rose, they were not getting away from what it were. There was no mistake what it was then. We kind of guessed, but we didn't want to know we were. It showed us, it was just everything. It was like, as if it just come out of Jamie, it was just pulled.
It was a humanoid figure.
Humanoid figure?
Yeah,
It was
totally.
It were an animal.
Yeah.
You could see it was totally.
It
Its torso was
Yeah.
come out. It was like arched up, and you could see its head and ears here, but you could see it's
trapezius and deltoids, yeah?
And then you could see like it top of its arms, its muscles there, and it was just so
Incredible, really.
you could see off her,
Yeah.
see or air.
But in the end, Jim could kind of take no more. And he stood up and took a few paces towards the eyes. making a few hissing sounds and shouting, and they disappeared. So he turned back round to his friends, thinking it's kind of crisis averted, and they've got a look of horror on their face, absolute horror. And he knows just by looking at their faces in the firelight that something very strange, something is not right. And when he turns round, he says the eyes, from being 3 foot off the ground, are now 7 foot in the air. You know, we came back and we measured and we put white tape on where he estimated these eyes to be. And in the backlight of the moon, and there's no moon behind this, but there's a moon that night that's giving a bit of light into the forest, which would not be unlike this one. You can see, all three of them can see the silhouetted outline of a huge wolf-like creature, but of immense proportions. Steve, who was with Jim and witness number 3, said you couldn't have fitted 2 men into the size of it. He says, and it stood tipped forward like an American footballer, as though it were going to charge at them, and it just stayed staring at them for hours and hours. They thought, quite honestly, they thought it was growling at them at first. And then they realised that it wasn't growling, it was its breathing. It was that guttural that's what it sounded like. From time to time it turned its head sideways and they could see a muzzle. And these huge ears that looked ridiculously large for the animal stuck up on top of its head, with tufts on the top of them. And all of them agreed that this thing had the appearance of a huge wolf.
So I took 3 or 4 steps forward towards it, threw my arms about a bit and made a few hissing noises. I turned back and walked back towards her and Steve, and that's when I saw them two. The jaw had dropped.
Really?
And I turned back round and I was just like, oh my God, what is that? And we all just stood there, and I never felt fear like that before.
So that's one story, one incredibly terrifying story to come out of a forest in North Yorkshire. And during the making of Wolflands, there was many more. And don't forget, if you're interested in what we're putting out, these short accounts of the strange and unusual, and I don't think it gets much stranger than this, tune into the YouTube channel. Press the like and subscribe for more updates on stories like this. You know, look at this, it's just so untouched. It's a fabulous location. And but would you want to be in this forest in the dead of night? Would you want to spend time here? I've done it, and we've done it on a lot more than one occasion whilst making Wolflands. Not in this exact forest, but in locations like it. And I'll tell you what, it's just absolutely incredible when you're in here. And then there's the edge of what the darkness holds, the potential of what this woodland does contain. Now, does it contain a flesh and blood mammal of immense proportions that's terrifying people? I don't think it does. I think whatever it is that was seen is some kind of transient animal that has the ability to slip in and out of our sphere of existence. Because even in such a dense forest / woodland as this, it just couldn't go about its life unseen. It would be impossible, in my opinion. So I hope you found that interesting, and just look at the life. Worlds within worlds. And I wonder if the ant even knows that I'm looking at it. Perhaps we're just like ants, and when we see these other intelligences, UFOs for want of a better word, and we're viewing them with awe and amazement, they're viewing us like ants. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll catch up shortly.